Hi K6MS and also MT20, MT21. Today I'm going to discuss about the question in finding general terms without binomial expansion. So based on the question 14 ABC that I'm provided in our groups, okay, I'm going to discuss about how we're going to solve the question 14C. Okay, but before proceed to the 14C, let us take a look first. 14A and B, what's the differences between them? 14A is the question is mentioned about expand the following. So it's mean we have to expand completely. Okay, bear in mind how the question looks like. Expand completely. Okay, it means that until the last term. But for the question B, is mentioned right now the first three terms only. So be careful with it. So these two, no matter how, we are still using a plus b power n, where the n is a positive integer. Okay, so for the question B, we only need to expand by using the binomial theorem NC0, NC1 until NC2 only, then we stop. Okay, because the first three terms. Okay, so for the question C, a little bit different from the previous one, which is we just need to finding the specific terms without expansion. So we have to be careful with it. In this question C1, 2, 3, 4, we are using the formula TR plus 1 equals to NCR a power n minus r, b power r. It means finding the general terms based on the binomial expansion. Okay, so let us look at the question 1. The question 1, you are given 2 minus 3a to the power of 6. So the first thing what you need to do is listing out the information where the n equals to 6, the a is equals to 2, the b is equals to negative 3a. So you double check from here, you have three information. You have n, you have the a, you have the you have the b, but we don't have the r. So how to figure out the values of r is based on this. Okay, tr plus 1. We must know the terms. If you don't know the terms, there is another way to solve it. So I will explain about it. So in this case, the question is mentioned about middle terms. Okay, so the middle terms from the total terms. So you have the power 6. So it means we must have 7 terms. So obviously, middle terms from the 7 terms is referring to the T4. Okay, so when we're doing comparison, T4 is mean compare with this formula. So you will get that compare and you will get the values of R. And we get to know that R is equals to 3. 3 plus 1 only you get a 4. Okay, so now we can finding out. Okay, therefore it will become T4 is equals to 63. Be careful with it. The R is 3. Fourth term, but the R is 3. 2 to the power of 6 minus 3, negative 3a to the power of 3. So we use the Mr. 570 to calculate the binomial coefficient. So 6c3 is equals to 20. Okay, so this is a 20 and this one is a 8, and do not forget this is negative 27 because negative 3 power 3 aq, and you simplify it, you will get the final term is a negative 4320a to the power of 3. So this is how we get the question 1. Okay, so let us move to the question 2. Okay, so the question 2 is mentioned about the 10 terms. This one is much more easier. Okay, so no matter how, firstly, what is the first step we have to do is I already mentioned about listing out. A is equals to 2x squared. B is equals to 1 over x, or maybe you can write it in index form, x power negative 1. The n is equals to 12. Because the expansion is 12, automatic the r plus 1 equals to 10. Because we're using the formula r plus 1, so the r is equals to 9. As long as you have these 4 information, just substitute into the 4 formula. Okay, therefore you can write T10 is equals to 12C9. Okay, NCR 2x squared to the power of 12 minus 9, x power negative 1 to the power of 9. Okay, so we solve it. 12C9, okay, 220 And do not forget, this one actually is 2 to the power of 3. So you get the 8x to the power of 6. Okay, if you don't know how to get it, just make sure this is power 3. Okay, so for the index variable x, then it becomes 6. For the 2 to the power of 3, you get the 8, eh? Okay, and this one is a x to the power of -9. So now you just need to focus, simplify the 220 times with 8. Okay, 1760. 1760, and in terms of x, it will become x to the power of -3, or you may write it as a 1760 over x cubed. Okay, so we can solve it easily. Okay, so comes to the question C. How about what's the meaning that independent of x? Okay, C and D may be a little bit different, so you look at it. For the question C, okay, the third one. So terms that independent of x, it means that the variable is not controlled by the x. So if not controlled by the x, it's not variable. So this one is referring to x to the power of 0. Okay, so this one is very important, x to the power of 0. So as usual, listing out first, what is the a? The a equals to 8x. The b is equals to, be careful with it, it's a 1 over 2 x to the power of -1. The n is equals to positive 8, and the remain are unknown. Because you have no specific terms and you have no description about which terms, it just mentioned about x to the power of 0. Okay, so we just substitute only, then you can write it as tr plus 1 equals to 8cr. So remain as the same. So 8x to the power of 8 minus r. And this one is 1 over 2 x power -1 to the power of r. So what we're going to do right now is, please focus on the terms that I highlight. So 8cr, the values, if you know what is the values of r, then you get to know is a coefficient. Okay, so this one is coefficient. The highlighted one is considered coefficient. So we're grouping. So we do the grouping. The first group, okay, is all the number. So I call it coefficient ataupun pekali. Coefficient. And the remaining one, it will be all the terms in terms of x. And we need independent of x, and I put x0. If the question asking for find the terms with x power 2, then here I will put x power 2. X power 3, I will put the x power 3 here. So we group the terms 8cr. So this one will be 8 to the power of 8 minus r. And this one, it will be 1 over 2 to the power of r. You get what I mean here? And then the remaining one will become x to the power of 8 minus r and x to the power of -r. Because r multiplied with -1, you get the -r. Okay? So what we need to focus is this part. Okay, what we need to focus right now is focus this part, doing the comparison to get the values of r. This part, okay, we have to simplify this with the 0. Okay, so it's mean from here, okay, from this one. Okay, we were doing the comparison by comparing the index. Okay, compare the power lah, by comparing the index. So you will get that is x to the power of 8 minus r is equals to x to the power of 0. Right? We're solving the index. So obviously 8 minus 2r equals to 0, 2r equals to 8, so you get to know r is equals to 4. It must be integer because terms, right, is a natural number. It can be counting from first until infinity. Okay, so this one r is equals to 4. Therefore, you can write down, okay, therefore, we get to know that the terms with independent of x, it will be t 4 plus 1 equals to 8c4, okay, 8 to the power of 8 minus 4, 1 over 2 to the power of 4, and this one will be x to the power of 0. Okay, so what you need to do is just calculate it. Okay, so I think the calculator can assist her. 8C4, so it's 70, and then times with 8 to the power of 4, right? And times with 1 over 2. 1 over 2 to the power of 4 as well. So you get that it's a 5-digit there, so it's a 17,920. No more x because it's independence of x. Okay, so did you clear with it? I think you have the same, you're using the same concept. Try to finding the fourth one. You can give it a try. Okay, you can give it a try. That's all for today. Bye.